Tigers, number one. Go Tigers.
And the next 4 years, I'm going to Stanford University.
Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline, 256-576-4977. Now, here's D Squared.
Welcome everyone to this Thursday edition of the Recruiting Blitz on Blitz Sports Radio. I'm D Squared, Rudy Armand. Time flies when you're having fun. This week is flying by. Certainly we have Super Bowl Sunday coming up. We got some homeboys playing. Well, first of all, as the director of player engagement, we've got Ramsey Bino Robinson, former Alabama defensive back with the Kansas City Chiefs. He already has a Super Bowl ring. But we've got a couple of Philadelphia Eagles from our local community. Quez Watkins from Athens High School, starting wide receiver, and Reed Blankenship, special team stalwart, dime safety. Got a former West Limestone Wildcat. Of course, Quez and Athens Golden Eagle under Alan Creasy. And the West Limestone Wildcat, Reed Blankenship. Jordan Cantrell, his coach. Still closely connected, though, to Shelby Davis in that program. He's in his rookie year with the Philadelphia Eagles. He's done a great job as a guy that's earned a role about halfway through the season at safety after an injury opened the door, and he'll be a big part of special teams, hopefully get on the field defensively for the Eagles. And we're going to talk to his high school basketball coach. Reed was a multi-sport guy. We're going to talk to Justin Taylor later in the show. He's getting ready for his Wildcats to play Ronnie Stapler in Westminster in an area championship game, I believe, on Friday. So we're very excited for that, and we're going to talk to Coach Taylor in a little bit about the West Limestone program, what Reed meant to it and to him and to their community. I know they had a pep rally honoring him yesterday, and we're going to talk about that. But we're also going to give you a little post-game from the University of Alabama, as they were very impressive, going to 21-3 and 11-0. First time they're 11-0 in the SEC since the Rocket 8 in the mid-1950s. That was for many years until the C.M. Newton era, and Wimp Sanderson was considered the best team, and still by some the best team in Alabama basketball history. But the Alabama Crimson Tide, 97-69 winners, very impressively over Colin Castleton, Todd Golden, and the Florida Gators. Alabama shot 49% from the field and made 15 more threes, shooting 44%. They did a nice job on the glass, out-rebounding Florida 45-41. Had 18 assists last night and really shared the basketball and just did an outstanding job all around with how they handled the Gators, and certainly only had 8 turnovers, which is huge against Florida, and that's why they nearly scored 100. Only shot 15 free throws, certainly, but still. And the only downside was Noah Clowney going down with a facial injury a little over halfway through the game, ended up with 9 points in the game. But they were led by freshman All-American and one of, I think, the best players in America overall, Brandon Miller, with another huge game. He ends up with 24 points and 9 rebounds for the University of Alabama. Also with a big game, you had 19 from Mark Sears from Russell Shoals, as he did a great job, 7 of 9 from the floor. Jaden Bradley bounced back a little bit, ended up with a very solid game of 8, as he had 8 points. Charles Bediako with 8 as well. Nick Pringle gave him some extended minutes with Clowney going down. We did not see Noah Gurley. He's their fourth center. It was considered a bad matchup for him, but certainly, we also saw Rylan Griffin give him 16 solid minutes as well, and Namari Burnett, even though he didn't make a lot of shots last night. Only 1 3 for Namari, but he has been shooting it very well. So Alabama overall with a really, really solid effort defensively. Colin Castleton really the only Gator to give Alabama trouble, and he's one of the best players in the Southeastern Conference, as he ended up getting to the line 14 times, and he ends up with 29 points and 10 rebounds. He actually did get that double-double. He ended up with 10 boards, but still Alabama did an outstanding job. Really, Castleton, the only one to go off. And we wanted to bring you some post-game reaction. Our own Chad Guathney was there on press row. I was, of course, at the 7A Area 7 tournament. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But we wanted to bring you Nate Oates, post game after that big 97-69 Alabama win?
Game out. First half was great. Thought we played a lot more like we're accustomed to playing. That's a good team too. I mean, they look at their last 2 games. I mean, they've been playing their best basketball right now. So, that's one of the teams that's going to finish in the top half of the league would be my guess. So to do that against them, obviously Castleton had quite a game. We would have liked to have done a better job on him. He's a really good player. Obviously, did think we did a good job taking away their threes for the most part. They hit that late one, kind of on a kick down that we gave up. But in the first half they didn't hit one. So if you're going to double, they do have shooters. They take decent amount of threes. We didn't want to give up a bunch of threes. That's a way to get upset. So our game plan was not to double him when Charles was in there. We probably needed to double a little more when Charles wasn't in there. But, other than our defense on Castleton, I thought our effort tonight was pretty good.
Yeah, too, if I can. Obviously, with the stretch you guys have coming up, this is an important first one to get out of the way. But what do you think was key to having guys locked in from the start in this matchup when it would have been easy to look ahead? And also, I mean, that's, I think, the number 10 defense coming in this game in the country. You guys almost put up 100. What was the key there?
You know what? We weren't happy with our game at LSU. I think guys understood we got to play better. That wasn't who we were, and our point was 2 out of our last 3 games. We haven't played hard enough, well enough. It was our 2 lowest, that game and Oklahoma game, were our 2 lowest blue-collar totals. Made a big point emphasis on getting that back up. It was almost 90 tonight. They only had 60, so I thought we played a lot harder. It just, let's get back to being who we are, who we know ourselves to be. And that's us. I thought Jaden Bradley had a great start to the game. Offensively, he's getting downhill, making plays. We shot it well. That always helps. But, we out-rebounded them. I mean, I just think when we're locked in and our efforts there, we're a really good team. And guys understand that nobody was happy with that game at LSU. We just it's good to get a win when you don't play well, but we need to play well. So we came out with the mindset we need to play well, and this is a good team. If if you don't play well, they beat you. So we did play well.
Coach, you seem to really emphasize the small ball lineup today with either Brandon Miller or Dom at the 4 and 1 big. Just what was the effectiveness about that? And then in the second half, when the energy seemed a little low, you put Nick Pringle at that foul spot. How was he able to bring that energy off the bench?
Yeah, they play 4 guards, so we felt like that. We started with the same lineup, and once we moved Clowney to the 5, we pretty much went with Clowney, Charles, or Pringle at the 5, which is why Noah Gurley didn't play tonight. It was nothing that, he's doing fine. He's not a guard, and he'd be our 4th center. So we kind of, once we got away from the starting group, in both halves, we pretty much went 4 guards out there and played either Brandon or Tom Welch, like you said. Kind of at the 4, we just felt like that was better matchups with what they had on the floor. Defensively, Pringle did give us some quality minutes. I mean, he can obviously play. Charles did well, but Charles got tired, and Colin was doing pretty well. So what did he end up with? Played 12 minutes, ended up with 4 points and 4 rebounds and 2 blocks. Like, I thought he did well for us. He played hard. He's been having good practices, so it was nice to be able to reward him with some minutes tonight.
Coach, that's 3 games in a row now that Quinterly's had 5 assists. Just what's your assessment of how he's facilitated the offense when he's been in the game as of late?
Yeah, he's been playing. He's getting back into his groove. I mean, me and him talked about it. He's looked great in practice, best I've seen him since last year. I thought tonight he was great. I mean, when he shoots the ball like he's been shooting it, he's tough to guard because you can't sag him. You got to get up on him, and then he can get by anybody. If you have to play him like as tight as you have to play him when he's shooting it like this, he can get in the lane. And once he gets in the lane, I think he's one of the best passers, if not the best in the country. So he's finding people. He's getting assists. He's looking to find, guys when he's in the lane. So it's nice to be able to have him. And, him and Jaden Bradley both had 5 assists tonight. Between the 2 of them, their 2 main point guards were 10 assists and only 1 turnover. So really good point guard play. Obviously helps your offense flow smooth, go along with the shooting we had. So, yeah, I was happy for him and Jaden both.
it's been almost 70 years since you guys have started this well in SEC play. Just do you kind of let that soak in, or are you just focused? And then, how special is this unit when you really do allow yourself to do that?
When was the last time we started this well in conference? The Rocket 8. Who was on that team? You guys are supposed to know all this stuff. I don't know either. It was a little before I was born too. Look, who was in? Gary Harper was on that team? All right, good. He's going to be the legend at the tournament? Sure, what was their final record? Did they go undefeated? They were 20-4. Look at that. Steven's first year here. He knows the Rocket 8's final record, 20-4. They didn't? Hold on a second. We were 14-0 and didn't play in the NCAA tournament? Yeah, I want to hear. I don't know. Oh, so they played at Notre Dame as freshmen. Oh, so he only got 3 years. So they were seniors. Look at you. No, he kind of knew. It was impressive. You kind of knew a little bit. So, I mean, it's great. They've had a lot of really good teams here. I don't even know who was in the SEC back in 55, 56. But it's a good league now. Look, we're just trying to play good basketball. I think we're played pretty well tonight. We've got a really tough 2-game stretch in front of us. So it's nice to make some history around here. So if we get to 14-0, that'd be great. I guess that's the next mark, but that's not going to be easy with these next 2 road games.
Just want to quickly ask you about Noah Clowney, if you have an update on him when he left the game.
Yeah, no concussions, just a facial injury. So Dr. Bidner checked him out. He's looking at. We're assuming he's going to be good to go Saturday, but they told me it's a facial injury. So.
Mark Sears has another really big night. Just talk to me a little bit about just his shooting and how you've been able to kind of rely on him, especially with so many guards kind of coming through.
Yeah, he went through a little bit of a slump there. It looks like he's back, 4-6, pretty good shooting. So, he's been aggressive. We need him. Him and Brandon have been our 2 leading scorers all year. I mean, he makes our offense go, and he's able to play some points on too. I think it's great when JQ and Jaden Bradley are playing as well as they are. Sears gets better shots. Brandon gets better shots. Sears can also attack the rim. He's, aggressive. Gets fouled frequently because he's, tough, physical, downhill guard. But when he's making shots like he is, he's tough to guard. So it's good to see him. I mean, shoot, Brandon was 4 of 8. He 4 of 6. Quinterly was 3 of 5. So we had some guys shoot it pretty well tonight. Delaney Hurd, 1 of 1, 100%, led the team tonight. So we had some guys shooting it tonight.
Hey, Nate, I know we'll talk to you on Friday, but get a little more into it. But just initial thoughts on heading down to Auburn Saturday, what Bruce has done with that team, and how excited you guys are to play in that rivalry game.
Yeah, I mean, it's become a top 25 game. I mean, he's done an unbelievable job. Year before I got here, he was in the Final Four. Last year's team was unbelievable. This year's team, he's competing with everybody. They're one of the best teams in this league, and he lost a lot from last year. They'll 100% be ready for us. We all know that. They've got a 24-hour head start on us. So I'm going to cut this thing short here and get to studying some Auburn film because we got some catch-up work to do here. So we'll talk to you. Look, I've seen them play enough. I haven't went in depth and studied them. I've seen them play other teams that we've been scouting. But one thing I know for sure is they're going to play as hard as we've seen a team play all year down at their place. And that crowd's going to be really into it. They've got an unbelievable atmosphere to play games in. And they've got a good team that's going to play really hard, that's really well coached. So it's going to be a tough road game for us. Thanks.
CBS allegedly tried an intervention.
He was speaking to the media following that 97-69 win for the University of Alabama to get to 11-0 and equal the Rocket 8 of Johnny D's. And you heard Jerry Harper, one of the great rebounders in all of college basketball history. Now we're going to hear from the players. Brandon Miller, we told you, game high 24 points for Alabama. Certainly Colin Castleton had a game high overall, 29 for the Gators. But Brandon Miller, the best freshman in college basketball, 24 points, 9 rebounds. You heard Nate Oates talking about 4 of 6 for Mark Sears. He ends up with 19 in the game. He's been an unbelievable transfer from Ohio University, the Bobcats. And before that, he played his 4 years from his 8th grade year through junior year before going to Hargrave Military Academy for Neil Barker and Muscle Shoals. And Neil Barker and Muscle Shoals will play for an area championship, and they will host Columbia later this week, I believe on Friday as well. But some outstanding basketball, and we're going to hear from Brandon Miller and Mark Sears right now.
You hit the first 3. What was the key for you guys, and maybe the message or the mentality you guys had starting this game?
I feel like the biggest message to us this game was just buying in on defense and just getting stops and bringing the energy that we need to get a win against a good team.
Brandon, that small ball lineup with you playing at the 4, Don was playing at the 4. How was that effective against Florida?
I feel like the team really got everybody involved, just playing the 4. I think that's one of the abilities that I have, and just having great guys around me to, back me up,
Florida made a couple runs there, early in the second half, and then it seemed like you guys kind of pushed back. Just what was going into that for you guys, and how were you able to kind of push them back?
I say coach called a timeout, and we just regrouped as a team, and we got our energy back right together.
Take me through that 23-4 run. How good does that feel on the court, and just how much momentum can you get while you're going through that?
I feel like we was just playing basketball at the time. I don't think we really knew the run that we was on. I feel like it's just great basketball by Alabama basketball, really.
Yeah, and our defense was really big to lead on to that.
Brandon, you really picked up your play when Florida kept the lead down to, I believe it was 17. You really picked up your play at that point. Did you take it kind of upon yourself to answer the run that a guy like Colin Castleton was making at the time?
I feel like it's a team effort. I feel like our big man Charles Bediako did as good as he can with Castleton. So I feel like a big shout out to Charles for playing his butt off against probably one of the biggest, probably the best center in the SEC right now.
Mark, what's it like sharing the floor with another point guard like JQ, and how does he facilitate the offense, and what's the offense like when he's running it?
He gets everybody involved, and it's great to play with a point guard that can do that and play make everybody on the court better.
Mark, Brandon, the energy didn't seem to be great to start the second half, and then Nate Oates put in Nick Pringle, and all of a sudden he just kind of energy. What is it like to have a guy on the bench that could just bring the energy at any given moment?
I feel like Nick Pringle brings the energy to any other game, just like he does even on and off the court. I feel like he brings the energy. So I think having a guy like that just keeps everybody together.
And that was Brandon Miller and Mark Sears, as we wanted to bring you some post-game from the University of Alabama's 97-69 win over the Florida Gators.
Yo, guys, we need to cash out the caddy for last week's round.
Ooh, right, good call. Let's leave a nice tip.
Nice job by Chad Guapney, and you can go to our YouTube channel. Good job by Scott Tyson getting that audio up on our website there if you want to go see and watch in its entirety the Nate Oates press conference and Mark Sears, and of course and Brandon Miller. So we wanted to bring you that coverage right there from the University of Alabama. It was a very interesting evening in the Southeastern Conference because Alabama got some help with the Vanderbilt Commodores, winning 66-65. They did a great job with a buzzer shot to beat the Tennessee Volunteers at the buzzer in the SEC, so that helped Alabama in the Southeastern Conference standings. And, Alabama now has a nice 2-game lead on Texas A&M, a 3-game lead on Auburn, a 3-game lead on Tennessee. So a great job by the University of Alabama, staying undefeated and going to 11-0 in the Southeastern Conference, getting that big win over the Florida Gators, no doubt about that. So we wanted to bring you that post-game audio with Nate Oates, with certainly Brandon Miller and Mark Sears, who played such a crucial role and played at a high level there. And as we said, in a few minutes, we're going to be joined by Justin Taylor, the head basketball coach of the West Limestone Wildcats, pardon me. But again, you're listening to the Recruiting Blitz with D Squared. I'm Rudy Arman. This is Blitz Sports Radio. This is our streaming channel. We are the sister station to ESPN 97.7 The Zone. Over 3,000 of you have downloaded the 97.7 The Zone app, and I hope you enjoyed the action last night. It was loaded down, as you heard. The Alabama Crimson Tide on our main feed, routing the Florida Gators. Zone 2, UAH, routing the West Georgia program, the Wolves from West Georgia, 89-66. And then epic high school basketball action brought to you by Austin Coletti, our own Austin Coletti, as Huntsville High routes the Albertville Aggies, led by the 14 of Braden Rivers, the sophomore, with 2 dunks, 14 points, 7 baskets, 11 points from Jamari Arnold, the senior leader, 10 points from Josh Bowman, another sophomore that's rising, Caleb Harrison with 8, Simon Walker. Just a balanced scoring attack, 64-42. For the third time, Huntsville is able to rout the Albertville Aggies. And then in an epic game, one of the best games that we've ever seen and ever carried on our airwaves, the Sparkman Senators, with a tremendous historic comeback from down 36-24, takes out the Grissom Tigers, who now for the third straight year under Jack Doss doesn't get out of the area tournament. That shows you how good the basketball is around here. Jack Doss, a Hall of Fame coach, 10-time state champion, as good a coach as we've ever had in this state. But this Grissom Tigers taken out at the buzzer by Carmelo Montgomery, a long 35-foot three, and the Sparkman Senators win 50-49 with a great and gritty comeback. Jamie Coggins' group for the 5th straight year will take on the Huntsville Crimson Panthers on Friday at 7 o'clock in the 7A Area 7 championship game. So that should be an outstanding crowd, an outstanding atmosphere. And speaking of outstanding coaches, Justin Taylor in his 18th season, winning a state championship, reaching multiple Final Fours for the West Limestone Wildcats. He coached a young man named Reed Blankenship. Reed Blankenship will be playing in the Super Bowl on Sunday, as he is in his rookie season as a safety with the Philadelphia Eagles after a great career at Middle Tennessee for the Blue Raiders and Rick Stockstill. Rick Stockstill has been there a long time. I think he's the longest tenured coach in Blue Raider history, but Rick Stockstill came over there from South Carolina as an assistant there and took over that program at Middle Tennessee and has kept them as a perennial bowl participant, and Reed Blankenship was a big part of that. He's overcome a gruesome leg injury about halfway through his career at Middle Tennessee after he was playing for Coach Stockstill, and he's now having a very strong start as an undrafted free agent for the Eagles. Had a really nice rookie year, picked off some dude named Aaron Rodgers, who will be in Canton, Ohio for his first career interception, and his career has taken off this year, and he is doing a great job. Going to get a chance to play and try to win the second Super Bowl in 5 years, and the second in the history of the Philadelphia Eagles in the modern era. But we're going to talk to Justin Taylor about West Limestone Wildcat basketball, this area championship game coming up with Westminster this week, and also Reed Blankenship and his impact on the program next. Stay with us here on the Recruiting Blitz on Blitz Sports Radio. I'm D Squared, but don't forget, download our app on the Blitz Sports Radio, just like you have the 97.7 The Zone app. And if you have not downloaded the 97.7 The Zone app, please do that as well. Download both our apps. We are the kings of local sports talk in the Rocket City and in North Alabama. And don't forget, later this afternoon, Captain Cool John Abraham and, of course, the bandy man, Bailey Lowry, will bring you the afternoon blitz. But everybody stay with us. Justin Taylor coming up next here on the Recruiting Blitz.
With us today, Dr. Tracy Lowry of Best Vein Care of Huntsville.
When we evaluate a patient and they indeed have significant venous disease, most third-party payers, private insurance, Medicare, require us to treat every patient conservatively at least 90 days. Conservative treatment includes increasing ambulation, elevation of the legs, and the wearing of compression stockings. It's very common for folks to come see us in March or April wanting to have their veins fixed before they go into swimsuits starting in June. When we see someone in March or April, they're going to require at least 90 days of conservative treatment before we can even go to the insurance carrier to get permission to treat their veins. So if you think you have a venous problem, now is the time to come in and get a free screening so we can determine whether or not you need something evaluated. If you have a vein problem or you think you may have a vein problem, now's the time to contact us at bestveincarehuntsville.com.
What's better than Valley Equipment Rental? 2 Valley Equipment Rentals, and that's just what we have now. The original on the South Memorial Parkway between Drake and Airport Road, and their second location on North Memorial Parkway just north of Winchester Road. Valley Equipment is locally owned and has more skid steers, excavators, and lifts than anyone in the area, plus all the small tools that you need to get the job done like a pro. And if you are a pro, you need to check out the new North location now because Valley Equipment has what you need. Learn more at valleyequipmentrents.com.
This is Wes Neighbors talking to Chris Haygood of Bob Wallace Appliance. Chris, what sets you apart from other appliance dealerships?
Wes, these appliances are going into the most used room in your house, your kitchen. The way we have these appliances displayed, it's easy for you to visualize how they'll look in your home. Wes, what sets us apart is the people. They're well trained. In fact, they live and breathe these appliances. And if you need service, you'll really appreciate our parts department.
Contact Bob Wallace Appliance at 256-533-2121.
Great food and the best live entertainment is what it's all about at the Furniture Factory Bar and Grill. Head to downtown Huntsville every Tuesday for karaoke on the only outdoor karaoke stage in North Alabama. Thursday night is the Valley's longest running and biggest bike night. Food and drink specials, giveaways, and live music on the patio. And the Furniture Factory menu is fully loaded with options from steaks to salads, plus a whole lot more. Featuring a weekday happy hour that starts at 3. 619 Meridian Street, downtown Huntsville, and online at FurnitureFactoryBarGrill.com.
Do you have discomfort in your legs? Varicose veins can affect not only how your legs look, but how they feel. Symptoms of varicose veins include pain, swelling, aching, heaviness, and fatigue. Dr. Tracy Lowry of Best Vein Care of Huntsville can diagnose and treat your varicose veins with the latest minimally invasive techniques. Diagnosis and treatment is covered by most insurances. Call 256-715-7151 to schedule your free screening. Go to bestveincarehuntsville.com.
Okay, Sarah, I'm dropping you at Emily's, and Josh, you're going to soccer, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, and by the way, when I pick you up, I'll be wearing my short shorts.
What? No!
Yep, me and my short shorts doing my daddy dance. Your friends will love it.
No!
Well, I might change my mind if you buckle your seatbelts.
Okay, we're buckling up. See, all buckled.
Whatever it takes, keep them safe. Never give up until they buckle up. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. Visit safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup for more information.
Welcome back to the Recruiting Blitz on Blitz Sports Radio. I'm D Squared, Drew DeArmond. We appreciate you for joining us here on this Thursday edition. Our first part of the show, we brought you some Alabama post-game coverage from the Crimson Tide's 97-69 win over the Florida Gators and Coach Todd Golden. The Gators have been hot, but Alabama bouncing back from what they kind of felt like was a performance that was solid but not good enough against LSU. So they came back out with a vengeance last night, played very well. You heard from Brandon Miller. You heard from North Alabama. And, of course, as we said, Neil Barker's former pupil, Mark Sears, from Muscle Shoals High School. You heard from both those young men. You heard from Nate Oates. And now we're going to hear from one of the best basketball coaches in North Alabama. That's why we consider ourselves the hub of basketball in our state. He's in his 18th season at the helm of the West Limestone Wildcats. He's a state champion as he won a state championship there. He's also been to multiple Final Fours. He's been to 5 Elite Eights. They've been perennial champions in their area. They're in 4A Area 15, and they will be playing in the 4A Area 15 championship game against the Westminster Wildcats coming up later this week. And we really look forward to that. Ronnie Stapler has a great team, but our next guest, he always seems to have his teams ready for postseason play. I saw them win the Final Four back in 2014 and 15 as they did a great job getting hot at the right time. Such a well-connected basketball team. They got a really good culture over there. And, of course, we're going to talk about that and about his former player, Reed Blankenship, now going to play in the Super Bowl this Sunday. But we're going to talk to Justin Taylor for a few minutes on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Coach, welcome back. How are you?
Hey, buddy. Great. How you doing?
We're doing well, man. And let's talk about Reed first and foremost. I mean, you were blessed enough to coach this young man, a very hard-working, humble kid. I had a chance to watch him play football and basketball at West Limestone and baseball. I mean, he's a three-sport kid. And, I know he was a part of that very special time. You guys won a state championship while he was a student athlete there. So he had a really great career at West Limestone before moving on to Middle Tennessee and then to the NFL. But what's it been like seeing that young man make it to the highest level of athletics and going to play in a Super Bowl on Sunday?
Hey, man, it's unbelievable. I remember the night that they were playing the Packers, and the guy goes down and Reed gets in, and we were sitting around the dinner table and kind of watching the TV in the other room. And when it was clear that Reed was in, we took our chili and went in the den and watched. And
yes.
And when he got that interception, I just can't describe the feeling. My wife's over there crying. I didn't cry, but I was. We just couldn't have been more happy for a kid like that. I was telling somebody this morning the buzz around here about Reed and the Eagles. People that didn't even know Reed are so stinking excited for this, and it's because they know of the legend of the kind of person Reed is. Not just that we've got a kid playing in the Super Bowl, but Reed's there because of the kind of person he is, and everybody's just so excited about it.
I'm sure they are, Coach. There's no doubt about it. And I mean, he was a big part of your basketball program there at West Limestone. You guys have, as we said, as we introduced you coming in, a special culture over there, winning a state championship. You've been to multiple Final Fours. I was blessed to see both of them. I've been blessed to see a lot of your postseason journeys there. But again, we're talking on Talking Ball this morning with Shelby Davis as well. He didn't get a chance to coach him, but Reed still stayed connected to the program. He reached out to one of his young men who suffered his own kind of leg injury that, like Reed did, a very severe one at Middle Tennessee. But he reached out to this young man to make sure and tell him he was going to be okay. But the cool part is his whole family is from that area, went to West Limestone. It's a very close-knit community, and everybody, I think, is rooting for him.
They are, yeah. You talk about that state championship game. Reed was a 10th grader, and one of our very best players got in foul trouble early, and Reed came in and guarded the Petty kid from Westminster. Mm-hmm. We were down 8-2 when Reed came in the game early in the first quarter. We went into halftime up 19-9. So we went on a 17-1 run with Reed just shutting. If you remember Petty, he could play.
Oh, very much so. Yes, Stillman and West Alabama. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I mean Reed was just a unique competitor, unique person.
He certainly was, and I know, and he talked about the work ethic he got from your community. A lot of times in the summer, baling hay. As he said, it's almost like that's why he could hang clean so much weight, because he worked so hard. But certainly, it's a cool thing too to know that he was a three-sport kid at West Limestone. Certainly, and he started concentrating though on football. I know, and he stayed with hoops throughout too. throughout his career. I know he kind of got away from the baseball deal because he knew he had a future in football, but he loved playing for you. What did he bring to the basketball court, his intangible-wise, that helped y'all win a state championship and helped your program be so consistent?
Well, you couldn't drag, other players couldn't drag when Reed was around because he never took a play off, never took in practice, just everything he did. And that's an unusual thing. Even good players and good teammates, every now and then you catch them dogging it. Never, ever one time did you look over and see Reed not going as hard as he could. He couldn't shoot a free throw to save his life. And you'd look down there, man, he was working on free throws. He wanted to get better every day. And I tell you, I had forgotten this story, but there's a million about him I remember. But Ben Campbell, who was our girls basketball coach several years ago, reminded me that, and this is kind of mind-blowing in today's culture, but Reed, to play in the county tournament, I think it was the semifinals, Reed turned down an opportunity to go to Illinois, where Lovie Smith, was the head coach.
Yeah.
And to Notre Dame to play in our county semifinals.
Wow.
And these were real visits. This wasn't, go put a shirt on and get your picture taken. These were legitimate, big-time football programs that wanted Reed on their campus. And he said, no, I've got a basketball game to play. And kids like that, it just gives you goosebumps thinking about kids like that. And that's why Reed's where he's at. Because the kind of person, there's a million athletes better than Reed that are not playing in the NFL and certainly not playing in the Super Bowl. And he's there just because the kind of person he is.
Yeah, it really is. And then I read a story about him from Ty Dunn on Substack, and I really enjoyed it because I had forgotten about the leg injury that he had while he was at Middle Tennessee and what he had to overcome. And plus, when he was trying to come back from it, the COVID hit, and, Shelby was telling us about how you couldn't rehab like you wanted to. You didn't have access to the facilities. So he really had to work doubly hard to get himself back and become the player that he needed to become to get looks from the NFL. And that just shows the mental toughness that the young man has.
Yeah, few people can will themselves to work that hard. A lot of people can be pushed to work that hard, but he had to do a lot of it on his own. Just him in the dark, doing the work, and he did it. And man, it's paying off in spades.
It certainly is, and I know you guys had.
And it's such a great example to all our guys, to the kids around here. If we can get it through their heads that Reed wasn't just a great athlete, didn't just run fast and jump high and hit hard. He got as close to 100% out of his potential as anybody I've ever seen, and he did it by just doing it every day and being that kind of person.
And when you talk about him skipping out on the visits to Notre Dame and Illinois and things of that nature and playing in the county tournament, it also meant a lot to him to represent his community and put on the West Limestone jersey.
Yeah. And I took that for granted then because that was just who he was. I didn't have to wonder if Reed was going to play. I didn't have to wonder if he was going to be he missed football was obviously going to be his ticket, but he was all in on basketball all the time. Just because, and again, it's just who he was, and that's why he's so successful in football.
And I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you. I know I was told by my colleague Scott Tyson on Talking Ball about the pep rally. I've got to imagine that was part of the energy you're talking about on the campus right now, celebrating him about to be on the biggest stage in football on Sunday.
Yeah, they did a pep rally over at the elementary school yesterday, and then we've got something going on here Friday. It's just really, really remarkable time. When Reed picked off that ball against Aaron Rodgers, the buzz around here. I said people in this part of the county hadn't been so excited since TVA came through and strung up electric lights. They were just tickled to death for his success.
There's no question about that. And I remember a friend of mine texting me, and he said, "Man, did you see who's in there at safety for the Eagles?" And then I said, no, who? He goes, Reed Blankenship. I said, I did the dude's game on the radio. This is unbelievable. I mean, when West Limestone played East, and I mean, that's a huge rivalry in itself. I mean, I made the we were over there at East, and I was in the press box with the West Limestone folks, and I said, this is a big game tonight against East. And he's like, who? I was like, I learned it quick, you know, how big that rivalry is, Coach.
Yeah, and he just dominated that game his senior year. He was something to watch. You know, you coach your whole career and pray you get a kid like him.
And Coach, well, let's not sell your program short. You got a big area championship game. Are you guys playing Thursday or Friday?
We're playing Friday.
That's what I thought. I think most everybody is playing Friday, and it's a huge challenge. You guys knocked out JP2 35-31, but now you get a chance to play the number one team in 4A basketball. But your teams always seem to be ready this time of year. Talk about your squad this season and then the challenge of taking on Westminster in this area championship game on Friday.
Yeah, it's a fun team. I really like them. They put a lot more gray in my beard, but they're just a whole lot of fun. You know, we got another great athlete on this team. You know, wanted to go play baseball at UAB. He was our quarterback in football. Just Colin Patterson, a phenomenal athlete, and great. You know, just does a great job in basketball. But you know, it's going to be a tremendous challenge Friday night. You know, we all know how good Westminster is. We're going to try to find, as we go over there, we're going to try to find a creek on the way and find 5 smooth stones and see if we can launch one of them at Goliath's head while we're over there.
Yeah, I mean, hey, you never know. I mean, I saw an epic comeback last night in postseason play basketball. A lot of times, Coach, the most difficult part of the game is the last 5 minutes when you're trying to get a win this time of year.
Yeah, it was. And you know, the other night against, but you know, you this one you can play without pressure. You know, we had the pressure game Tuesday night in the first round, and so we can just go roll it out and play Friday night because we're still alive. You know, we're going to play whichever team we play in the other area, Deshler or Brooks, or you know, they're both really good. But you know, both the game we feel like we've got a chance in. So you know, we're just going to enjoy this time of year.
We always do. We always enjoy following West Limestone athletics and especially the basketball program. You've done a remarkable job there with the consistency, winning, I believe, 8 area championships. We talked about the 2 Final Fours, the state title, the 5 Elite Eights, which is just a tremendous accomplishment. You've done such a great job with your consistency there. What's been the key? I know you had a chance to have kids like Reed Blankenship, who's such a great athlete, but what's been the key to the consistency of the program there?
Man, we've had a lot of good players. You know, and if I started naming names, I'd leave a good one off. But you know, we started when I got here. We had a good group of seniors. Zane Campbell was a junior. Yep. We all know what a stud he was. And then I had a group of kids come through that started a run. I don't know how many years we went to the regional tournament in a row, but you know, Brady Clay and Preston Herring, Justin White, you know, just some, and I just think about them off the top of my head because I was just talking about him. Brady's my assistant coach now. You know, and had, you know, we had the misfortune of moving in the area with Butler. A year that we had everybody coming back from the year before, and that bunch of seniors, and then Trevor Lacey moves into 4A. But you know, and then that championship team, just so many good players through the years, and good people. You know, we've won with good people. And that's, you know, we hadn't had better athletes than a lot of the teams we played. But man, we got that state championship team. You better not get me rambling talking about these guys. But I went to a wedding last summer, 2 summers ago, and the starting 5 from that state championship team was the wedding party.
That's awesome.
They were the groomsmen from, you know, and that's the kind of stuff it takes.
It is. That,
you know, we don't have guys with Kansas offers, but we've had a lot of tight groups and good friends and good people. And we've gotten a lot of mileage out of that.
Well, those are the West Limestone Hoosiers, man. That's what it is. I mean, I told Robbie Coker this when he won his first one several years ago. We were in the post game, and I asked one of the players about Hoosiers, and Coach Coker was like, I don't think they've seen the movie. I said, Coach, you got to have a viewing party, man.
Yeah,
you got to go back and watch that because they won the game at the buzzer. And I was like, you got to watch that. I mean, that's what those kids are to West Limestone. They're going to be heroes, these kids, for the rest of their lives. It's memories they'll never forget, and I'm glad they're staying so closely connected. And I'm glad you continue to build this program into a consistent postseason contender. And then we wish you all the luck on Friday at Westminster, no question about it. You've always been great to us, and we appreciate the time reminiscing about Reed Blankenship, who's meant so much to just not just your school, but in the community, but to us as well. And we wish him all the luck in the Super Bowl. But thank you for the time and reminiscing a little bit this morning. Thanks, Coach.
Yeah, thanks for having me, buddy, and thanks for what y'all do. It's always fun to keep up with.
Absolutely. Thank you. That's Justin Taylor, head basketball coach of the West Limestone Wildcats. We're going to go on a break. We're going to wrap up this edition of the Recruiting Blitz on Blitz Sports Radio when we return. Stay with us.
The Blitz has been called.
To celebrate the Olympic Games, Bridgestone is giving away prizes. You could instantly win a $10,000 Bridgestone Visa prepaid card and other great prizes every day when you buy a set of 4 eligible Bridgestone tires. Stop by Firestone Complete Auto Care today. No purchase necessary. Open to legal U.S. residents 18 and older. Limit 2 entries per person. Ends August 21st. For official rules and to enter without purchase, visit BridgestoneWin.com. Limit one $10,000 Visa prepaid card daily fulfilled by mail. Prizes awarded subject to verification. Visa prepaid card may be used anywhere Visa debit cards are accepted. Cards issued by the Bancorp Bank, member FDIC, under license from VCUSA Inc. Neither Bancorp Bank nor VCUSA Inc. are a sponsor of or affiliated with this promotion.
Napa know-how.
Smartphone speakers. They're about as effective as chopping firewood with a butter knife. A rusty, dull butter knife. So pick up a wireless Bluetooth speaker at Napa for just $26.99. With a rechargeable battery, 33-foot range, and rugged waterproof case, it does the one thing your phone is terrible at: play music. The Napa Bluetooth speaker, now just $26.99. That's Napa know-how.
Napa know-how.
At participating Napa Auto Parts stores while supplies last. Offer expires 8/31/16.
It's the geometry teacher who mans the ticket window.
It's the kid in grade school who paints her face blue and white before every home game.
It's the accountants and salesmen and store managers who give up their Friday evenings to referee.
It's the graduate who listens to the league championship game on the internet.
It's the parent who sells ads in the school athletic program.
It's the cashier at the corner convenience store who wears school colors on every game day.
It's the trainers, equipment managers, and ball boys who never miss a practice.
What makes high school sports here in Alabama so special? They do.
You do.
We all do.
High school sports. It's the we that every community needs. This message presented by the Alabama High School Athletic Association and the Alabama High School Athletic Directors and Coaches Association.
Adopt US Kids presents Multiple Choice Parenting.
You're bringing your daughter to her favorite pop star's concert. Do you A, wear earplugs?
Isn't this fun, Dad?
I'll have a soft pretzel.
B, remember the moment with matching concert t-shirts?
That's gonna be $180. Or we can just take a photo.
C, show her how you used to do concerts.
We're going crowd surfing.
I can't. It's too heavy. Oh my God. Ah.
Or D, just roll with it.
Woo! Justin! Look at us, we're over here!
Justin! OMG! He just looked. I love you, Justin! I love you!
When it comes to parenting, there are no perfect answers. But that's okay, because you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Teens in foster care will love you just the same.
For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
This hour of the Blitz is brought to you by Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Online at FlemingHSV.com.
How long does it take to get to the forest?
That's not far.
What are we gonna do? Hike?
Sure.
Are we there yet?
Yep. It's a short drive from your neighborhood to your naturehood. Visit discovertheforest.org, brought to you by the Ad Council and the U.S. Forest Service.
Welcome back to the Recruiting Blitz on Blitz Sports Radio. I'm D Squared. Huge thanks to Justin Taylor, the longtime head basketball coach and state champion with the West Limestone Wildcats, as Reed Blankenship was a sophomore on that state championship team, is now going to play for a Super Bowl championship with the Philadelphia Eagles after a great career at West Limestone, multi-sport athlete, and also a great career for Rick Stockstill and the Middle Tennessee Blue Raiders, and is now in the National Football League in his rookie season and going to play with Quez Watkins. He and Quez teammates from the same geographic area. Quez played under Alan Creasy. We've already talked to Coach Creasy in the past about Quez's journey, getting drafted, having a great career at Southern Miss, and now becoming a big part of that Eagles offense with Devontae Smith, former University of Alabama star, Landon Dickerson, the starting left guard for the Eagles, outstanding player at Alabama, and, of course, Jalen Hurts, MVP candidate for Philadelphia. A lot of ties to our state of Alabama with Nick Sirianni and the Philadelphia Eagles as they try to win their second Super Bowl in 5 years. As we remember, Nick Foles and Doug Peterson did it with the Philly special against Tom Brady and the New England Patriots just 5 years ago. So they're trying to win their second Super Bowl of the modern era. Good luck to the Philadelphia Eagles. And we've also got Ramsey Bino Robinson, and Bino, of course, stands for Believe in No Other. Former Butler Rebel, played for Jack Doss on the hard court. Ron Danley on the football field before going to Alabama, becoming an all-SEC corner with his teammate in high school and college, Kenneth Darby. Darby, of course, a 3,000-yard rusher at Alabama, and then a running back with Tampa and with the St. Louis Rams, now is a fixture in our community. So Ramsey already has a Super Bowl ring and has been to multiple Super Bowls as director of player engagement for Kansas City. He's doing a great job, but just huge congrats. We've got ties on both sides. And in that Super Bowl championship team from Kansas City a few years back, our own Reggie Ragland was on that team and has a Super Bowl ring now, and finished this year with the Cleveland Browns as he continues his NFL odyssey. So many local ties to the National Football League in our community, and especially with this Super Bowl coming up in Arizona on Sunday. And so we're going to continue to cover that, and we're going to continue to have quality sports talk here on the Blitz. Don't forget, later this afternoon, the Afternoon Blitz with Captain Cool, John Abraham, and the bandyman Bailey Lowry. They're going to bring you a great show from 2 to 4. I'm the D-Squared Rudy Arman. From 9 to 10 a.m., we bring you the Recruiting Blitz. Today we brought you some post-game from the University of Alabama, Nate Oates, from Brandon Miller, the freshman All-American, and Mark Sears from Russell Shoals, as he had 19 last night. Did Sears 24 from Brandon Miller. We brought you some of that. Tomorrow we'll continue the recruiting conversation from 9 to 10 a.m. here on the Blitz Sports Radio. So download our app at the Google Store, the Apple Store for the Blitz Sports Radio. Download it for ESPN 97.7 The Zone, because there's going to be the Iron Bowl of basketball on Saturday that you can hear. The University of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports Network, Brian Passett, Chris Stewart on the call, as they will head to Bruce Pearl's house, the Neville Arena, and take on the Auburn Tigers, who have been ranked for the majority of the season in the top 25 and have one of the best home court advantages in all of college basketball, and recently had the longest home court winning streak in the country snapped by Texas A&M. So they'll like nothing more than to snap Alabama's record-tying 11-0 start in the Southeastern Conference. Alabama ranked third in the country, trying to reach number one for the first time ever. And the next two games will go a long way to that, as Alabama is going to have College Game Day in town in Auburn and will be at 1 o'clock taking on the Auburn Tigers in Neville Arena with that 11-0 SEC slate, 21-3 overall. And then after that, next Wednesday, they're going to travel to Tennessee, who is smarting from that buzzer-beater loss to the Vanderbilt Commodores. So, again, a huge two-game road trip for the University of Alabama, and we're going to have full coverage of that here on the Blitz Sports Radio and, of course, on ESPN 97.7 The Zone. No question about that, but it's been another great show. We always appreciate you guys listening and supporting us. No question about that. This show is built around high school coaches like Justin Taylor, around student athletes like Nick Strong that we heard from yesterday from the Randolph Raiders. He of the 41 touchdowns and just an all-state and all-region player going to go on to the UNA Lions. We also heard from his high school coach, David Lloyd, who's been with us multiple times. But, again, it's a local show. We want to bring you recruiting conversation and the thoughts of local coaches and student athletes. But we hope you enjoyed it today. Everybody continue to enjoy this nicer weather, warmer weather here in the Rocket City, and we'll talk to you tomorrow at 9 a.m. And enjoy the afternoon Blitz, everybody. This is the Blitz Sports Radio. I'm D Squared. Have a great rest of your Thursday.